when I get on him, I'm probably going to get on him from the fence. So I'm going to go to the fence as if he were going to help me to get on. And you've seen this in other videos with some of our other horses where we get on. We call it bumping up to the fence. And I have not tried this with him, but if you've been watching along here, you see me maybe in the background working on having him being comfortable with me over him here. And if I'm on top of him, I'd like him to be okay with things over his head. Up here, I've been swinging a rope up there. I'm going to get back here as if I were behind him, and I'd like him to see me. I'd like him to see action on both sides. But I'd like him to get to where when I climb the fence, he's thinking about picking me up. That means his hindquarters need to be over near the fence. His shoulder needs to be here. And I'm probably not going to ride his pole. I'll be wanting to get on behind the withers where my saddle would be. So I'm going to offer for him to take a step forward here. And what I'm going to be doing here is making the right thing easy and the wrong thing a little uncomfortable so that he can search out what it is I'm looking for. So a little bump, we call this a bumping up to the fence. A little bump here, if that doesn't work, he's going the opposite direction where I would like him to. I'm not going to pull on him, but I'll keep bumping until he tries something else. And that's what this is about. He needs to try something else. And we'll see if he might try. I'm thinking about him coming forward. He's thinking about going backwards, but he's not getting a relief going backwards. My bumping is consistent. There's one step forward and a big release. All right, so it's that release that he's going to learn from. And I'll let that soak for a moment. He's aware of where I am. It wouldn't take much to bring him back. That's nice. So I offer here just by picking up on my lead rope slightly, and I release. It's a similar release to what I gave him back there when I quit bumping. If I don't need to bump, I won't, but if I need to get his attention, I'll go to bumping a little bit. I'm not tugging, I'm not pulling, I'm just giving him a bump, and it's steady. Now we'll see some people get in there with the lead rope and they shake the lead rope or they bump it wildly. That's not the idea. It's rhythmic. It's bump, 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 bump. And then what happens a lot of times is people get tired of bumping and they say, oh, my arm hurts, so they quit. And the horse didn't do a darn thing. Well, the horse is learning that you'll quit and he doesn't have to find out what it is you want. So here's a little something you might do. You might try this without the horse. And these exercises we call save the horse exercise. But what you might do, and I'll just leave this lead rope here so I can show you this without him being involved. You might be bumping a bit and this arm may get tired. Well, just get the other arm in there, take the lead and don't miss a lick. And you can bump with the other one for a while. And that one gets tired, you're going to start bumping with this one. There are times when you might be working on this bumping for quite a few minutes before you get a change. But if you release before you get a change in the direction you're asking, when you pick up and ask again, it's going to be that much harder to get them to try. All right, now, so back here, the bumping also would be rewarded if he were to move himself towards the fence. Now we're not getting on the ground, pushing him over. I'm not taking the tail of my lead rope and driving him over, but I have directed him from the fence as in a lead by. And you can see that in some of the background things where Janet's working Titus when you look at those videos. So I've been working on that as if I were doing a lead by on the fence while I was standing inside the fence and he's traveling along the fence, untracking the hind, bringing the front through, sending forward, untracking the hind. So it's that lead by on the fence exercise. I've done that. And I'm always thinking about where I want those feet to go when I'm asking in these exercises. Same thing here. I'm going to ask him to get closer now. And I'm going to think about this. If he were to step forward, I'd release that right there. You could see him shift forward. That's the idea. If you can catch and reward those little tries, if you see them, if you notice them, it's going to make your job a whole lot easier. Now, the one thing you want to watch out for is if he overachieves on that, he may walk on forward. Well, there's going to come a point where he's so far forward that I'd have to be climbing on his butt and not the saddle. That's a little too far forward. But I do want to reward his try for moving forward. Okay. So there are a lot of fixes in here, and I'm just going to go through this. I'm thinking about him now either moving his hindquarters towards the fence, which that is not it, or moving forward. The forward's okay, but the hindquarters moved away. Now, I'm not going to put my lead rope on the other side of his head. I just want him to search. There's something I want him to do, and I have a picture in my mind of what it's going to feel like and what it's going to look like. If the shoulder moves towards me, or the hindquarters move towards me, either one, I'll release. Not where we want to be yet, but it's the right idea. And this is not something you're going to make happen. You're going to set it up and let him find it. He has to figure this out, and you've got to have a mental picture of what you want to see. Now we're into the bumping again. And it's steady. There's a release. Because he was almost going to make a change, and he did. So when he's here, I want him to feel very comfortable being here. And I'm going to rub on him, and I want him to see my hand on this side. I want him to see me on this side. I want to think about him switching eyes and being okay with that, and being over the top of him. I might even come down in here and kind of keep myself on the fence and think about what the saddle's going to feel like when it's here, and let that feel good. A little bumping there with my hand. Now, I'd like to see his hindquarters move towards the fence. That wasn't it, so I'll just send him back as in a lead by, kind of get him set up here, and see if I can get him up here. That's good there. Okay, that's nice. Now we need a little more, so I'm going to pick up here, think about those hindquarters coming to me, and almost. That's a try. That's a try. I'm gonna ask him to back up here and see if he can try something else. And I'll release for that. Big release for that. So his hindquarters did move towards the fence. He's not in my mounting position, but that's a try, that's a start. Now you should have fun with this. Believe that it's going to happen. Have a picture in your mind of what you'd like it to look like. And sometimes if he's pretty close, I might just scoot back the fence a little bit and let this feel good to him. Here, rubbing on both sides, rubbing on him here. I want that to feel good. Now, I'd like him ultimately to step forward and to his left. But all I can do is think about it because I only have a lead rope. I can only bump. There, that's pretty nice there. So when I get this position here, I want this to feel really good to him. But that's right where I'd like him to be if I were to get on him. Right there. Right there. So I'm going to let this soak for a little more time than I might have for the other tries, but this is right where I want him to be. So we'll get to where we'll do these same exercises with the saddle on. But for now, I can be the saddle right here, and I want that to be very comforting to him. I've been rubbing on him. I've had the lead rope around his middle. Now he decided to leave. So I'm kind of going back to, I felt better the other way. How did you feel? He says, well, let me see if I can maybe find that again. He says, I don't think I found it. No, I don't think you found it either. You can come back here. See, where were we when we last had a nice conversation? Where was that? No, it wasn't there, was it? It was closer to there. Yeah, it was closer to there, wasn't it? Okay, so this isn't quite as perfect as it was, but you can see him licking and chewing and having some understanding. So I'm liking this, but I'm not liking it as well as I'm going to like it if those hindquarters were over here. So I'm going to think about that, and I'm going to pick up on that lead rope as if I'm going to signal him. A little bump here. I'm going to say, try something, try something. Now here, he decided to leave. That's okay, he can leave. But it's not real comfortable for him to leave, you see? There's a little bump in there. There's a little bump here because he's not, there's a place on this planet where I want you to be, where life is more comfortable. And it's right up here next to me, right there. That's the place right there. He says, well, I'm looking off to my friend. I'm going, are you sure you want to do that? Maybe you want to be with me. I get his attention back a little bit there. I'm not trying to move his feet. I just want to keep him here. That's nice there. Okay. So, a great horseman I knew years ago once said, when you have your horse here, if you were to get off the fence like you were climbing down a ladder and let your bottom put pressure on his shoulder so that you're kind of squeezing between the fence and his shoulder, that he will find that to be a comforting thing. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get off here as easy as I can, and I'm going to move this transmitter out of my back pocket, and I'm going to come down right in here just like that, and then we're going to walk off. And as I'm walking, I'm thinking, yeah, I really like that, and trying to be in the moment, just really impressed with his try, really appreciating what he did for me there. And I'm thinking about going back to that fence and seeing if he could be like ready to pick me up again. If I were to climb the fence, would he be there? I know what that would look like. I know what that would feel like. I'll just climb right up there and see if he can think about getting back into that position. That's pretty nice. A little more. A little more. Beautiful, right there. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you with any more right now. This has a lot to do with your timing, with your feel, with your desire, having a vision, a video in your mind of what this is going to look like and what it's going to feel like. You'll be able to do this from a fence, from a stump, mounting block. I often say if you were a young gymnast, you wouldn't think of getting on your horse from the fence. But those of us with shorter legs and taller horses, and with short legs, we should be able to ride the taller horses so we can kind of make things fair and even in the world. He's looking at Woodrow over there. So I don't mind getting on the fence. And if you get on your young horses from the fence, you're not as apt to pull against their withers and make that uncomfortable. You're more apt to be able to get on and be more comforting to them. But I want to do lots of things here that might mimic my saddle. Now he's thinking about leaving. I'll just come back in here. We go back to bumping. I go back to I'm not comfortable until he's kind of where I had him. I can be a little more particular. Maybe right there again. There we go. Okay. So that's what I would like to show you about getting your horse bumped up to the fence. You can see his distraction. Little fixes. He's not in trouble. I just want him to be with me. So I'm going to get down again, and I'm going to come in here, climb down the ladder, kind of pushing on him a little bit with my rear end, and then we're going to walk off. So that's a pretty good start for that. And I hope you find that handy for a lot of us that aren't gymnasts. This is a handy tool to have working for you. All right, well, thank you for watching that. I hope that helps you out.